thank you so much for joining me. Great to have you here. And the passage we're going to look at is one that's looking at what the wording means. It's this beautiful story, and part of the story is realizing like what land you can live in, what land you can't. That's an Old Testament story, and it's looking at that idea of like the land that we really can live in. Where's the place that is home, in other words, and what can that be for us? What can home really look like? And it's talking about the inner self. And the idea is that we have an inner self, we have a soul, and we have an outer self. We have a physical manifestation. And it's the same with our memory. We have an inner memory, what's really written on our hearts. We have an outer memory, which is sort of all the facts and figures of our life. It's the same thing. There's always this outer and this inner. And a lot of life, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the two to correspond to each other, to respond back and forth. In other words, for one to respond to the other, for there to be great integrity between the two. And you know how powerful that is, right? When you're around someone who's just like, oh yeah, that's the real person. There's no pretense, there's no masks. It's just, like you feel like you get to know the real person. And can we come from that higher self, the inner self, and live out there in the world that way, so that the inner self is totally reflected. So here's the passage, and it's again, deep theological language. I think the point is very simple. The inner self, what are the parts of the inner self? And it says three things. The inner self, good qualities, joys, and blessings. Good qualities, joys, and blessings. And that's from Secrets of Heaven 1568. And it's this interesting idea, right? That on our inner self, stamped on our heart, we all have these good qualities. And along with those good qualities, we have those things, that idea of joy. And joy, interestingly, is a happiness that is actually beyond self. It's just this sort of this base note of just, all will be well in all manner of well, a lot of that kind of perspective. And then the other one is blessings, that we also have these gifts and these blessings that we have that we're to use out there into the world. And so much of life is trying to take what this inside part is and to live it out there into the world. And the outside part oftentimes fights against it. It's where we can be driven by fear instead of love, by worry instead of opportunity. We get driven by all these different things. And so all those things feel very shut down. You have somebody, if we're in a part of our life where we're just all feared up about something, it's awfully hard to bring blessings to life when we're living in a state of fear. I think you know that, I know that. Or a state of anger, or a state of jealousy, pick the whatever, the bad five. And you can see like it doesn't allow us to live that way. So a lot of life is trying to get as best we can to try to allow the Lord to get that external stuff all in order. We have to do our bit too, so that the inner stuff can shine through. And again, the beautiful part, and this is Christian New Church Theology 101, which is that naturally good stuff is the default. It is there, it's in us. Our job is to let it be expressed out there into the world and to get the stuff that's in the way out of the way, which is a beautiful idea. And what happens when we do that? Well, isn't it kind of interesting? Like yesterday's sermon writing team, we were talking about the freedom that comes from living from that higher self. And it really is. It's just this feeling of, oh yeah, I'm free here. I really am free. And I really can move. I really can make a difference in the world. I'm not all driven, all sort of contracted by fear or anxiety. I'm not contracted at all. I'm living fully. And it allows us to just be open to people, fully open to people in a different way. I notice at a personal level, like it's nice being at a point in time in my life where I feel like, oh, so much easier to listen now that I'm older, just because I have less and less of an agenda. And I realize that's the work of God. That's not something I've done, but just really watching the agendas go quiet, because we get to a point where we get older. It's like, well, what do I know? Not much. But I do know that we can listen, and it can get to those inner qualities, and it can bring those inner qualities to life in other people and in ourselves. So today, as we go into the weekend, it's a pretty simple task, which is really look at allowing your inner self to come to life, really allowing it to burst forth in all its beauty. And again, that's your good qualities, your joys. What are your blessings? What are your good qualities? What are those things you have that are good, truly good qualities? What's the joys that you're feeling throughout the day? Places where you're feeling yourself connected, or in laughter, or or in deep connection. Those are the joys and the blessings. Like, oh man, life is just so blessed in all these different ways. And it may be a day where that's hard, right? But still struggle to find those things, wrestle to find those things. And then most importantly, wrestle to find ways to live them out. Get rid of that stuff that's in the way, live that deeper stuff. That's what harmony is. That's what resonance is. That's what integrity is. That's what living as best we can in this very finite world, trying to bring a little bit of heaven onto earth. So I hope that makes sense, dear friends. And what we're going to do now is we're going to shift gears. And as we shift gears here at New Church Live, we're going to listen to a little prayer bell. We're going to clear our heads. We're going to do a little prayer bell, little meditation, little prayer, little blessing. And I am doing this here at 5:10 in the morning because we're hitting a flight down to Charleston. We're going to be preaching down south this weekend. Reverend Alan Callie will be very ably taking over New Church Live this weekend, so there will be no live comments over. Feel free to post stuff, and I will gladly get to it when I get a chance to look online. So let's start out with the prayer bell. Get a little breath, please. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, I'm wishing you all the very best. God bless you. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on Sunday, either down in South Carolina or live online with Reverend Alan Callie. Take care. Bye-bye. Like our content? It's funded by viewers like you. Please consider becoming a sustainable